Good evening, everybody. Good morning. Good afternoon. The metropolis, Emerald City, Xanadu, Babylon, to the ISS, and the rest of you. It is 1 a.m. in New York, 9 a.m. in Moscow, 3 p.m. in Tokyo, and 10 p.m. in the Hollywood Hills of California. It is the headlines for what is ending 329, entering 330, 2022, day 34 slash entering into day 35 of, you don't call it World War III. We're not talking about nuclear weapons. We're not talking about regime change. Ooh, that's three gaffes right there. And the three major gaffes that President Biden gave, whether accidental, deliberate, or again, as I suspect, watching Joe Biden, knowing how Joe Biden thinks, knowing his opus moderandi, noticing that he was on the campaign trail in Europe. That's my take on it. I have been asked to try a couple things tonight, so I'm going to do that as we start. You can find me, of course, on the World Wide Web. You can join me on social media on the Facebook. Yes, I have the medal. Okay. I have my medal of occupation, and I have my bars, and I have my Lenin pin. I'm not going to wear uniforms. This isn't a joke. They are literally talking about a possibly now a 30-year war. As I said, for every minute after invasion, incursion, after striking, if there is any momentum, every hour becomes a day that becomes the week that becomes the month that becomes the year. The factoring, the numbers factor. And when we hit 2 weeks in the headlines, 14 days, when we hit 21 days is one, because 14 is when I said, this keeps up. You won't be able to economically recover from this within 2 years, which is after the midterms before the next election. We may not A, be going to the midterms. B, wait a minute. This is assuming there's a healthy economy, and there's not. The economic recovery from this incursion that went 24 days, meaning 24 months of recovery, they are actually talking in terms of decades now. But we have to hurry up and get to green energy. Now, what is interesting to me, excuse me, is in looking back at all of the news headlines, the financial markets, the stunning revelation that the average, no, I'm not going to show one, but you all know, where's a credit card? Oh, that's evil. A plastic credit card, right? The average, well, there's microplastics in your blood. Yeah, they had to announce that. We're sorry. We know you're busy. But yeah, well, you're consuming about a credit card worth a week. Well, it's in everything. Hey, wait a minute. Weren't the people who were claiming plastic is a problem? Your conspiracy theory, you're exaggerating. But wait a minute, degrade and the bisphenol A and the plastic and you're a conspiracy. And no, 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 no. And like Roundup and Dow Chemical and I don't know, napalm and asbestos. And stop. You have microplastics in your blood, it's now found in the human blood supply. On average, about a credit card's worth of plastic a week is what you're consuming. I found it interesting the media deciding to choose that's the medium in which they're going to describe to Americans how much plastic they're eating every week. Yeah, about a credit card's worth. If you have 5 credit cards and you consolidate them into 3, you can cut 40% of your plastic out of your diet right there. See? As President Biden was on his international campaign tour, running for president of the world, because that's what the media was hyping for 8 days leading up to this emergency summit. Forgive me. I did the Scott Leisure podcast earlier today and several meetings and another Zoom that is yet to be released. So my throat's a little scratchy. Um, President Biden's comments in Europe on what I mean, again, he's going to the most significant historic speech a president has ever had to make, Joe Biden, yada, yada. He was on the campaign trail and said many interesting things that are now blown over because of Will Smith bitch slapping Chris Rock. I might get to that or not. If you understand, a lot of what I do on social media now is just trolling for my own amusement. Microplastics now found in the human blood supply. Um, Russia, of course, and the announcements that they have been victorious in their first phase of Ukraine. Russia, of course, no longer, however, controlling Kherson. That was the first to fail. Um, some interesting comments coming out of Europe. President Biden, as President Zelensky is pointing out, enough of the words. Here's what we need. Put up or shut up, or get off the pot, so to speak. President Biden, of course, was there to see the humanitarian crisis firsthand, promising more money, promising humanitarian aid, promising everything but the troops. And then when going to talk to the troops, the gaffe of when you're there in Ukraine. Well, I meant training the troops. I didn't say that. I never said that. You're making it up. I never said that. Here's what you said, Mr. President, when you were addressing the NATO troops in the 82nd Airborne. Talk of freedom of speech, freedom to assemble, freedom of religion, freedom to vote. Ukraine is a fledgling democracy, and the democracies around the world must unite and fight for Ukraine. NATO has never been more united. Democracies around the world are revitalized, seeing the autocrats. Is that the right? I'm fast forwarding the word I wrote down. We went from oligarchs to the autocrats. Um, there's a bunch of pages enough. It's been a busy day because of Will Smith. Will Smith over here. Watch everything over here. Look what they're doing. You got about a credit card's worth of plastic in you every week. Scooter, those aluminum cans are lined with. I know. I know. With over 180,000 troops that Russia has in Ukraine, President Biden, of course, is also going to be sending more troops. Not to Ukraine. Everybody calm down. But more troops are going to be going to NATO, into the region. Um, all of the brutality is on Vladimir Putin. He is guilty of war crimes. And we all know what he said. Then when Peter Doocy said, you said this, he said, I didn't say this. While the White House spent 48 hours, excuse me, not 72, 48 hours walking back President Biden's gaffes Monday morning at the press conference when it approached, well, it's Fox News. Yeah, Peter, I know, again, nepotism and the kid and the father and all in the, I get it. He asked a legitimate question. In the light of when you said this, boom, 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 I never said that. Okay, we are back. Every candidate who runs for office must be able to do this. Light a cigarette. So you didn't set your face on fire or anything, and you have motor skills. And then begin to start tapping your head. And then you can rub your chest, okay, or your belly. But now it just looks like I'm doing something dirty. Hey, I'm not wearing any pants. That's like 3 times in a week. Okay. But in order to be president, you have a cognitive test. This is about as good as we do, really? No, seriously? How about we go back to the headlines? Hail Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. Um, more troops are going to the NATO region. It is Vladimir Putin who is responsible. Only Vladimir Putin can stop the war. But the Ukrainian ambassador, Oksana, what's her nuts? Um, Oksana says we can. I don't know. Who cares? Um, all of the other countries must unite so we can defeat him. And she then parroted the same thing, that only Vladimir Putin can end this, and he's a madman. And then Upchuck Todd had the unbelievable audacity to actually, well, if he's not gone, I mean, can you live with him next door? The polling numbers can no longer be ignored by the media. They are horrible. When it comes to the war, 57% regarding the war have a negative opinion of the Biden administration. Only 34% say no, they're on it. They know what they're doing. Now, understand in the world of voting. Now, again, it's the economy, stupid, because I got notes in here on this. I come from the Lee Atwater School of Politics. God rest his soul. I know evil, all that. I get it. However, in the world of political ideology, when it came to people like former CIA Director William Casey, and then a young judge, and then Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. Scalia's mind is available in that Ethics in America and the Constitution series. Fred Friendly. How'd you like to have that? You think he got the snot beaten out of him as a kid when he was in the play? The polling data. Lee Atwater. Scalia's mind, not the legal side. Well, the legal of which can. And then G. Gordon Liddy. Sorry. We love Gordo. Because Gordo was just one of the rat fucker. Well, they were the plumbers versus the rat fuckers. And what a great crew. We got second story guys. We got PR guys. We got, hey, Gordo, get over here. He's funded for cocktail parties. He'll stick his entire hand into a plastic cup. Now, the trick is that he doesn't care. So, this polling data, my brain goes back to thinking like Lee Atwater. And then I hear James Carville. It's the economy, stupid. And then the twinning up between uh, James Carville and his wife, Mary Madeline. And the new guy with the hair, his name will come to me, the digital guy, because he's a Clinton. He was Clinton pulse and came up with the gadget to read the pulses and the no. His name will come to me. Lutz, Frank Lutz should be Putz. Boy, you want to talk about a manipulativist. He's worse than David Gergen. These numbers. Oh, Lee Atwater, your core. Nobody knows who I am. Now, please follow me here at YouTube and click like and click subscribe. Maybe make a comment. Uh, go to my Patreon and maybe support me. Join me on social media on the Twitter of all these headlines, and maybe make a comment, and we can FaceTime on Facebook. So, you want to run for office? Now you got to break down your numbers. How many live in your district, in your state, whatever you're going to run? So here's my target. Here's my reservation. Okay. Well, districting has here's my block. I'm not concerned with the general population. How many registered voters? Our registered voters are this. Now the political break. In a fake left-right system, Republican, Democrat, and then the third wheel, the independent, when it comes to a Ross Perot, when it comes to a John Anderson, 1980, when it comes to a Ross Perot, when it comes to and Andy no or whatever now. Dealing with the two. You have a breakdown of tens with a plus or minus of 10%. 30% of the people are going to vote for you even if you get caught in a hot tub with an underage hooker cheating on your wife, Governor Carlson. Arnie Carlson was not caught cheating with an underage hooker in a hot tub. No, but it was close. They still supported him because the guy that was running against Governor Carlson was Jesse the Body Ventura. I'm just saying. So if Babs Carlson is still alive for using carnal knowledge, and they bleeped me off the show when I tried to point out that you didn't know what you were talking about. So your numbers, 30% are always going to vote for you no matter what. 30%, by the way, are never going to vote for you. There's your half and half. Because 60% and 40%, yeah, because it's not 50-50. Who's running? Who's my alderman, my councilman, my sheriff, my governor, my senator, my who cares? Who's running? 30% are yours. 30% are your opponents. That other 30% is open season. Do they show up? Can they be? That's the other. Can they be manipulated? Can they be drawn to your side? Not. Are they just uninterested voters? Of course, they're registered voters. They all register to vote in the national elections, and then when the next year turns around, they're registered and they don't vote. See, there's a whole series of breakdown. Now then, and enter James Carville because Lee Atwater then passes away. But now Lee Atwater's Republicans. Everybody calm down. Atwater and Casey. Now Casey, longtime friend of Reagan, and Reagan, of course, a rhino, a Democrat turned Republican to infiltrate the party. So the only way Ronald Reagan is getting in the White House is if George Bush is, and that was the whole deal allegedly, and the Rockefellers and the Illuminati, and I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't believe me. Listen to the conspiracy keepers. Your core, 30% are always going to vote for you. 30% are going to vote for your opponent. That's 30. Now, this 10% is the wild card. As I brought up that other third, if whatever in the election you can motivate that 10%, your voter base that would otherwise never be engaged with you or against you now goes to that 10. Major problem. If a third and the 10% just drew the other third, that just won. Yes, direct your attention to November of 2018 in the election of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Democrat out of, it was it the 9th or the 19th or whatever district in New York, who ran as a Democratic socialist in New York City and won. You remember when the Nazis showed up at Madison Square Garden at the Bund thing? Yeah. Do you actually know the story of who's responsible? Those fights, the Americans were, those weren't Americans. That was the mafia that did that. Get out of here right now. Call me a liar. Actually look into the truth of that beating and at the Bund Festival, Madison Square Garden in the 30s. Yeah, I know. Progressive tolerance and understanding. We'll get to Will Smith. Your third are going to vote for you. The third are going to vote for him. The third they don't know. That 10%, that wild card that they just, this plus or minus three bullshit when it comes to the polling data, it's got to stop, especially when you're massaging the data and you're calling 853 people. No, the deal was it used to be 1,026 people, I believe, or 1,054. When you polled, you were pulling 1,000 people. Yeah, but there was the plus or minus. So it was like 8 or 18 or 26 or 54 or 48 or again, dyslexia. And I don't remember that. Doesn't matter. Not a number. 38, 26, 38, 36, 24, 36. This should be a little heavy, a little more current, a little more current. Like those numbers I can remember. Clearly, I can't remember them. I can barely visualize them. Okay, the numbers. I'm going to get to the bowling data, understand where my head is with these numbers. And when I saw these, I went, oh, I mean that I want to hit the room and not a comedic routine to make them laugh. I want that gasp. Black Lives Matter, the George Floyd protests, what were minority fringe, that 10%, 2%, 5% over here. Woof. That is a classic example. An otherwise unengaged voter, argumentatively a productive member, an upstanding member of the Christian business community, and suffering a lot of white guilt because of the things they've got that others don't. And we should go down and show us, and let's give some money on the GoFundMe. And don't tell me I'm wrong. See, we have this little group, and look at the political candidates you're getting now. Because 2018 was 2017, and where was the world then versus now? And my predictions on the Scooter McGee show that she would be running for president of the United States in 2024. But Scooter, see, you don't understand the Constitution. She isn't like, wow, look how far we've come. The numbers. James Carville and the Clinton campaign and presidency was run on polling data. Now, hear me out, because Hillary Clinton, if she ain't running the Joe, and Obama ain't running the Joe, it's Susan Rice. However, she's in it. And Michelle, I know Michelle. How come you ignore Michelle? I really try because, all the photographs of her getting out and off planes and standing up and in bridal gowns, then there's that bulge between her legs and it gets scary. There's children in the room. James Carville creates the Rapid Response War Room. Brilliant. Brilliant. Again, Sun Tzu, The Art of War. I am a staunch Irish Roman Catholic conservative nationalist. That sure does not make me a Kennedy loving, bleeding heart Democrat by any stretch of the imagination. I can respect James Carville, as evil as the day is long. Yes. And I can respect him. He is brilliant for what he created. The Rapid Response War Room. It handled the Clinton flubs, the jogging to McDonald's for a cheeseburger. It handled Hillary, I'm not standing by my man and making chocolate chip cookies. And the attacks on my husband are a vast right wing conspiracy for its time and the world that it was. The Rapid Response War Room for the Clinton regime was brilliant. It covered up, it magnified, glorified, and it misdirected and diverted with almost elegant grace. How can the husband of the Democrat running the Democrats and the wife running the Republicans, how can you sleep in the same bed and not kind of they really bought that line? Well, it's the Rapid Response War Room. By that point, we are able to sell anything. We can sell bloody gloves to nuns. Well, good for you. And we can divert that money right to Hope, Arkansas. Hear me out. The internet is not what it is now. the viruses and the bugs and how to get your lists and how to buy documents and how to blast message people you'd never see and to get a video showing something so horrific that people who'd otherwise never get involved. Hey, Loveland and Greeley, Colorado, who are selling the Putin bumper stickers with the Ukrainian flag? Oh, thank God we are sticking those things on our green vehicles and further degrading and taking down the value of vehicle. Slap a bumper sticker on there and let the world know Ukraine, Putin. I'm sorry, not Ukraine. Of course, that was bad. Bad scooter. Putin. All right, one time. Then why don't you just say fuck Putin? It's America, freedom of speech. Right? I don't want to say fuck. I'll just F star 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 Putin. Another bumper sticker on their car said that none of us are legal citizens on stolen land. And then they had the coexist. I took a picture, but I don't know how to get rid of the license plate. Pull it into Greeley on 85, and I'm like, really, really, oh God. Um, because the internet and the rapid response war room is now polluted and perverted to we said that, then we changed the transcript. We come out and say we didn't say that. That's not what I meant. He intended to mean does not matter. Here's what he said. Here's everybody else heard. Here's how they're responding while you're hiding in a room trying to figure out damage control and how to get ahead of major gaffes as President Biden tried the entire time on his international trip to blame Vladimir Putin and the Russian army for everything gas problems, the upcoming food crisis, the supply chain issues, climate, yada, yada, yada. It's all Putin's fault. The latest polling data is in, and there are several polls. The most interesting tell is the NBC News poll and how they were all freaking out. There are two other polls that are all within the margins of in the old days of plus or minus 3, but that's when, for example, Rasmussen would run the poll, and I think there was, again, 1,008 or 1,026 were polled, and a plus or minus 3. Here they are in your four categories: more favorable, less favorable, likely favorable, and on whatever it was. You know how that goes. Where are they finding these people? Because if the polling data is right, we don't have 80 million Biden supporters in the United States right now. We don't have that record number from 18 months ago. When it comes to the illegal, unjust, uncivilized, immoral, barbaric war, boy, you're kind of slanting that question, aren't you? Well, I mean, otherwise, how do you explain these numbers? How do you feel that the Biden administration, or the White House, is handling the war? Are you in favor? 57%. Are you okay with? Yeah. 34. Holy. If your party's always going to have 30% and 30%, so 33.333, no, because the 10% during the elections, that's one base number. So we can go to thirds. 34% is your core. You don't have any fringe. Your staunch supporters are behind you. Whoa. President Biden's worst polling data since taking office January 20th, 2020. One. Only 40% of Americans approve of President Biden, 55% disapproving, plus or minus 3%. So 2% didn't vote, hung up the phone, or giggled. Only 40%. That's the election. It's the fucking economy, stupid. Again, I can give respect and credit where it's due. The credit goes to James Carville. Not a share bitch slap, but Mr. President, it's the fucking economy, stupid. 34 days in. Now already talk of a war that will last 20 to 30 years. Americans are not hyped with any of that. I have just a little bit more. Okay, the 40-55, right? Yeah, the 40% approval, 55. Wait a minute, back to that 34% are only. No, it's even worse than. I'm okay. I'm okay with it. It's all right. No, the bus is a little close to the edge of the cliff, but we like the driver, so move forward. Now, all of these headlines get buried on the back burner, including now the uprising in El Salvador. Yes, fatigues. I'm going to get to wear jungle fatigues, and I'm going to get to go swing in the jungles, and I'm going to find a cheetah, and I'm going to find a Jane, and I'm going to hide in a treehouse and wait for Taylor and Dr. Zira and Cornelius, and then life will be better again. Um, the gang MS. If you've spent any time in prison, or if the popularity of this project, like the Scooter McGee show, where they used to pump it in and torture everybody at Gitmo, only to find out later that the inmates in the Weld County Jail they actually liked the product. I don't know why. I don't get it. They did. You know me. Oh, I spent 6 months in the jail, and I get a cellmate next to you who's listening to you every night. You serious? The slap heard round the world. How many of you can actually believe this is real? Do you really think that that was not scripted? Do you really believe it's true? Retired broadcaster, village idiot, high school dropout. Jennifer Farmer appearing on NBC News earlier this evening. What does Jennifer do? Because Scooter's now, no town, no. She is a crisis communications expert. Crisis communications expert. And she is on to discuss President Biden's intentions versus what he's not. What's she doing here? Oh, Will Smith. Okay, good. All right, let's all come together and get pissed. When did all of you become crisis management experts? When did you become marital counselors? When did you become anger therapists? When did you become police officers, security experts, prosecutors, and defense attorneys, members of the academy, and your demands? And how come the police and you don't suppose that was staged because of piss poor ratings over the past decade? You know, the last time the Academy Awards were funny, and not because of the Academy Awards, it was when Triumph the dog would appear on the red carpet. What is that, 25 years ago? It's got to be pushing 20 years ago. It's 9/11. Okay, so it's 20. Well, was Triumph pre 9/11? It's all real. And then he gets the award for Best Actor. Of course, it's all real. Like wrestling. We know everything else is fake, but professional wrestling is real. And I'm not going to get into an argument with you people on this. All right? It's like you freaks who pour ketchup on spaghetti. That's it. We have more headlines. Guatemala. Yes, I was going to get fatigues. MS-13. That was the tangent. Um, Boy, you want to see what a government in collapse and a country in collapse with years and years of crisis and civil war and humanitarian aid and sanctions. I direct your attention to El Salvador, as I brought up William Casey and I brought up Lee Atwater, and you want to bring up El Salvador and the Contras and the whoosh. Shh, 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 shh. The Contras weren't. Oh, it was that whole time in that whole region. The domino theory. Thank God the money went to Hope, Arkansas. Hope, Arkansas has nothing to do with, I know. I just said that to be an idiot. Maybe I'll get lucky and a Clinton East, just two right here in the back, and then we don't have to have an open casket. We need everyone, every other nation, every other democracy, so that we can stop the war. And yet Putin must end the war. Putin has to stop the war. Um, Crisis, yeah. Can you, no, come on, you can't really believe the Will Smith. Please, please stay on focus. We're going to go to El Salvador. MS-13. A state of emergency was declared after over 60 people were shot and killed. Now, killed is the question. They're just saying wounded. MS-13 is responsible, allegedly, mass gang attacks. See, the gangs are trying to take over the country and the illegal mafia running the country versus the street mafia. Now they're going to the mattresses. So you may want to check your 31-hour watch again with all of the money in the humanitarian aid and whether it was a Republican or a Democrat and who was in charge when the domino theory in Central America and, in particular, El Salvador. Again, if you grew up respecting and worshiping, not worshiping, but respecting people like Lee Atwater and like James Carville, both sides of the other aisle. And again, CIA Director William Casey, excuse me. He's not a good guy. No, Rod Carew, Muhammad Ali. I told this the other night of heroes I had as a kid. No, but you can respect the evil and understand it and hopefully be able to defeat it. Didn't run to my friend's house and can we have a meeting and vote as to whether or not they're bad? We know he's bad. Yeah, he's really evil. You got to respect that. Yeah. Now, how do we crack that code? Because once we know your tell, we can defeat you. We know how you work now. We need you to do something for us. We just need our bargaining chip to walk in the room and shut your mouth. You remember that campaign stop that you were at? And remember her. Take care of that for us now, won't you? Y'all have a good day now. The deadliest day, Saturday, the 327 in the overnight, Saturday to Sunday, the deadliest night, day in El Salvadorian 30-year history. This thing with Will Smith, all of the women are now mad because Will Smith upstaged you with the slap. There were a lot of historic moments here that have really now been kind of buried because of all the. You really believe that, huh? Well, you know, when you're eating your drive-through chicken nuggets from the McDonald's and the Wendy's and the wherever's, I shouldn't have should have said McDonald's because of the pink slime. So you're eating your McNuggets, and then you're having a problem on the toilet. Maybe it's because you've got more than a credit card's worth of plastic up your ass from all the food you've been eating all week. It can't be up your ass, Scootery. It's only been reported in the blood supply. Okay, well, I reported that 2 weeks ago when it came out. See, how do we dump headlines on a Monday? Because something, and that was amazing. No, that was staged. That was absolutely, again, not to the point of, well, now wait a minute. Because again, it pop. Yes, no, if real, if this is pop. Yeah, but no, see in the hand and did. Yeah, but see now in the world, you said something about you don't talk about the wife, you don't talk about the kids. And when you do, it's not Sopranos and you get a tax, you get clipped. What if a white guy was the comedian and Will Smith came up? Or what if it was two white guys? Would we be having this discussion? No, I direct your attention to the women and the elderly refugees of Ukraine that are now over 4 million. Didn't I say 10 million before Easter? All right. Find me on the World Wide Web, scootermcgee.com. Find me, support the show, make a comment, share it to a friend. or torture one of your enemies and give them this as their elephant gift for Christmas. All right. See you every night, 1 a.m. Eastern. Goodbye, everybody.